Washington, D.C., May 2025, WorldWire News. A defining moment in U.S. constitutional and immigration history is unfolding at the steps of the Supreme Court, as justices deliberate a landmark case that challenges birthright citizenship for children born in the United States to undocumented immigrants. The case, catalyzed by an executive order signed by President Donald Trump, seeks to overturn the long-standing interpretation of the 14th Amendment, a legal provision that has, for over 150 years, guaranteed U.S. citizenship to virtually all individuals born on American soil, regardless of their parentage. Now, as the nation watches with bated breath, the Supreme Court is being asked to reconsider the very definition of what it means to be American. Scroll. What is birthright citizenship? At the heart of the case is the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment, which states, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside." This language, ratified in 1868 following the Civil War, was crafted to guarantee citizenship to formerly enslaved people and to ensure that birthright citizenship would be universal and unconditional. For decades, this clause has been interpreted to mean that anyone born in the United States is a citizen, with very few exceptions, such as children of foreign diplomats or enemy soldiers. Memo. The case before the court. The Trump administration argues that the phrase "subject to the jurisdiction thereof" excludes children born to individuals who are in the country illegally or on temporary visas. Under this view, undocumented immigrants are not fully subject to U.S. jurisdiction and therefore their children should not be automatically granted citizenship. The executive order, signed on President Trump's first day in office during his second term, was blocked by several appellate courts, citing constitutional protections and historical precedent. Now, with the case elevated to the Supreme Court, the legal debate centers on how narrowly, or broadly, the 14th Amendment should be interpreted. Balance scale. What's at stake? If the Supreme Court sides with the Trump administration, the implications would be sweeping and transformative. 1. End of automatic citizenship for millions. An estimated 150,000 children are born each year in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants. These children currently receive full citizenship rights. A ruling against them would create a legally ambiguous and potentially stateless population. 2. Legal identity crisis. Without U.S. citizenship, affected individuals could face restricted access to health care, education, voting, and employment, despite having lived their entire lives in the country. 3. Patchwork of citizenship laws. Legal experts warn that the ruling could empower states to enact their own citizenship standards, creating a fragmented and unequal legal system across the U.S. 4. Constitutional precedent at risk. A reinterpretation of the 14th Amendment could open the door to future redefinitions of other constitutional rights, potentially undermining the principle of equal protection under the law. Globe. Broader implications for U.S. immigration law. This case does more than question citizenship. It directly challenges the foundational legal infrastructure of U.S. immigration policy. The ruling could redefine eligibility for family-based immigration, which often hinges on having a U.S. citizen relative. Complicate asylum and refugee claims, where mixed-status families may be penalized. Strain border states, which may experience demographic shifts, legal disputes, and human rights concerns if the children of undocumented immigrants are denied basic recognition. Moreover, the case puts judicial authority itself under scrutiny. If the court allows the executive branch to unilaterally redefine constitutional terms, the balance of power among branches of government could be permanently altered. Ballot box with ballot. A political earthquake. Politically, the issue is already reshaping the 2026 midterm elections. While conservative lawmakers praise the move as a return to legal clarity, critics across civil rights groups, religious leaders, and immigration reform advocates warn of a deliberate erosion of civil liberties under the guise of enforcement. In a passionate statement, the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, wrote, Revoking birthright citizenship undermines the very core of the American promise, that this country belongs to everyone born on its soil, regardless of ancestry, ethnicity, or paperwork. Of the road ahead, a decision from the Supreme Court is expected in June. Regardless of the outcome, the case is destined to leave an indelible mark on U.S. legal history and national identity. If the court upholds birthright citizenship, it will reaffirm a legacy of inclusive constitutional interpretation. If it strikes it down, it could initiate the largest revision of American citizenship law since Reconstruction. In either scenario, millions of lives hang in the balance, and so does the future of American democracy. By WorldWire News Legal and Immigration Desk, for truth, for justice, for the people.